This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Know-How is brought to you by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. Know-How is brought to you by FreshBooks, the ridiculously easy-to-use cloud accounting software used by over 10 million people. Try it free for 30 days at freshbooks.com/know-how.
Today on Know-How,
we'll use billion-dollar satellites
to find cheap McDonald's toys. Welcome to Know-How. This is the show where we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I'm Brian Burnett.
I'm Patrick Delahanty.
And today we've brought Mr. Delahanty onto the show so that we can use very expensive satellite network for finding really cheap McDonald's toys, right,
Yes.
Patrick?
Well, it's geocaching.
Geocaching, the roller coaster thrill ride that is finding stuff, right?
Yes, it's a treasure hunt using technology.
Okay. So I have never gone geocaching myself, but just give me a brief explanation of what that is.
So with geocaching, you use a GPS device or you can use your cell phone these days, and it will give you the coordinates to find treasure hidden out there in the world.
Okay, when you say treasure, though, like I feel like there's little quotation marks that go over that.
Really, it's not gold and it's not pirate treasure.
Yeah.
It's finding Tupperware containers filled with somebody's rejected McDonald's toys.
Okay.
You know, the thrill is in the hunt, really.
Yeah, it's about getting outside, getting some exercise, right? And just kind of exploring. And then there's a community to it, too, right? Where you track these items as they go along from place to place.
Yes. There's more than 2 million people out there geocaching, and there's more than there's 2.8 million geocaches in over 180 countries.
So they're literally...
So wherever you are, there's one near you right now.
There are literally dozens of you. Dozens. Okay, pretty cool. Well, how did you first start getting into geocaching?
I started geocaching in September of 2004, and geocaching was fairly new at the time because it started literally the day after the U.S. government opened up the global positioning system to be more accurate. So on May 2nd, 2000, they removed selective availability so you could get more precise with the GPS. And everybody loved it. And on May 3rd, 2000, the next day, somebody went out and hid a GPS-located cache and said, okay, somebody go find it. And it had been found twice and logged once the same day.
Wow. Okay, so people were pretty on top of this.
Yeah, and not even a week later, somebody had created a site to track other people who were hiding caches near them because everybody wanted to try this. And so in September of that year, geocaching.com was created and just has grown since then.
Okay, all right. Well, back in 2004, GPS was still relatively new. Not everybody had nobody had a smartphone.
Yeah,
so what did you have to track GPS stuff?
I used this Garmin eTrex, and it's a very basic thing. It's got a black and white screen. It's like a
Does it still
calculator.
work?
Yeah, it still works. There, we got it going on here. And so it will find the satellite, satellites in the sky and figure out where I am and give me the coordinates. Now it's going to have a little trouble in here in the studio because there's a roof on this.
Oh,
and this,
right. Satellites
this
are
needs
above
to,
us.
even out in the woods, if you're under some trees, it might be difficult to see. So you got to get to a clearing and then lock onto a few satellites and then go in.
You know, I'll give it some slack considering most of the technology I owned from 2004 does not work anymore or would not even be useful. How much did this cost back then?
I think this cost me about $75 at the time. And now this would be a lot cheaper. And there's a lot better ones out there that color and they'll store maps.
And work under a roof, maybe?
This has no map. It'll just give me dots. And like, okay, you want to go to this dot over here, you're at this dot over here, and here's the direction to go.
Okay. So would you recommend if somebody was getting into geocaching, they should have a separate GPS device, or would a cell phone be okay?
To start, all you need is a cell phone, because there are apps now. The official Geocaching app, you can go in, and I've got it loaded up here, and you can see the map, and then all the geocaches near us, near the studio. And so that's a lot just here within a mile.
Those are all yours, though, right?
No.
Those are,
No.
Those other people put those there.
Other people have put these here. And so we can go and find one. You hit one.
And then it gives you a name and kind of...
Yeah, it tells me where it is. And then I can go in, and it gives me a description. And so I can read about it, and I can get directions. It tells me if there's any, like there's parking nearby. There's no trackables in here, which I'll talk about later. And then it says when it was placed.
Okay, so you make like a profile name for yourself and stuff, and you can see who last left that item.
Yeah, and that's the fun in this, is when you find one of these, you log it. There's usually a log inside, and you can write your name and the date. And then you log it online so that you're able to track all of the ones you've been to online.
Okay, and now you were telling me a story too of where you could track an item and see how far it had gone from place to place. And then I think the one that you're talking about eventually disappeared. Like
yes,
in
most of mine have
2006.
disappeared. I had one, there are things called travel bugs. Or just trackables. They started with just little dog tags, and they have an ID number on it. And you put the ID number in on the website and say, hey, I found this. And some of them, they'd be attached using a little chain to a little trinket. And
a little Lego guy?
Well, not necessarily a Lego guy. It could be anything. Sometimes it's just a paper card that had been laminated. And it would say, hey, I'm trying to get this here. Please help deliver it there. Or it could just be, yeah, I'm just along for the ride.
Okay.
I want to see where it goes.
That's cool.
And so you find one in a geocache and you move it to a different geocache. And so it's trackable. And so other people help it along its journey.
Okay. So
and there's different kinds of these. So there's the ones that have the dog tags attached, and then some have codes printed on it. Like there's this Lego guy that has a code printed on his chest. I don't want to show the whole code though.
Why not?
Because somebody could log it while watching the show.
And that wouldn't be
and
fair.
I want this guy to only be at caches that he actually visits.
Is that why you weren't showing off these dog tags either?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure what those
That's
were.
what these look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bug.
And these are the copies. They would give me two. There's the one that's actually attached, and then a copy for me to keep.
Oh, okay.
So I have the code in case I need it.
So all the codes and things that are on these little caches, these are just things that you record
I'll
down.
actually show this code because I don't mind.
This Lego
This is a
block?
Lego brick. Track at geocaching.com. So if anybody, we'll just see. We'll let our viewers track this and see what happens. And so the other side says, I heart geocaching.
Oh,
so.
That's cute. So that's not in the spirit of geocaching, though,
Yes.
right? Because the idea
you're supposed
is
to actually physically have it.
Right.
Now there's also one on my wife's car. You
So
don't
that would be
get
a
the
trackable.
car. Yeah, this is trackable.
Okay.
And so you can say, hey, we were out geocaching. We saw it near this geocache, or
how would you know that it was a trackable? Though?
because there's the little bug logo. Let me put it down here. Yeah, this little bug logo. There's a decal in the back window. The bug logo, and then it has the numbers and letters underneath. So you can say, oh, there's a car that has geocaching.
I see. Because I think I have seen that sticker on your car, and I just thought, oh, that must be some kind of inside joke of Patrick's. I
No,
don't
now
know
you
what
can
it
go
is.
type it in, and it'll tell you, like, oh, this is the Murano TARDIS, because it used to be blue, now it's red. But
Okay.
we'll have to rename it. But yeah, when we go out geocaching, we can actually track it.
Right.
At the geocaches.
And if other people see it, they can
If other
track it.
people can see it, they can say, hey, I saw it.
Okay, so do you have to register? Like you go on the
Yes.
website and it gives you a code, and then you register your little geocache.
Yeah, so when you first get these, you take the code and you put it in on the website and you set it up and you create a little profile. And I think, Alex, we've got the Chibi Moon one that I created in 2004. And that particular travel bug has traveled. That's the one that traveled over 9,000 miles. And this is just this little Sailor Moon figure.
So you made this little profile for it?
And so I made a profile and was trying to get her to Japan.
And has that happened?
No, it disappeared somewhere near Tampa.
Oh no, Chibi Moon.
Yeah, Alex, if you the view map down at the bottom, if you hit that, you can actually see the travels of this.
Whoa, 9,600 miles or something?
You have to log. Well, I'm logged in over here. I don't know if you have my screen, but okay. But yeah, it's traveled over 9,000 miles, and you can view everywhere it's been and zigzag back and forth across the country.
Okay.
And then it just disappeared. I don't know. Well, from reading it, it looks like somebody put it in a geocache that was near a construction site, and then they did construction. And so they just wiped it out.
Chibi Moon is probably like buried under some cement or something.
Yeah, so somewhere in Tampa, there's a building that has a little Chibi Moon built into their basement.
I guess that would happen from time to time. So are there different sized geocaches that you can do?
Yes.
Like, is there any size requirement, like how tiny or what you can use as a geocache?
Well, you have to do it something reasonable.
Yeah.
Like this little molecule.
Right, I'm using this penny. This is a geocache.
Well, you'd be surprised at the size of some of the geocaches. There's some that are just micro and like little tiny things. In fact, there's a very small micro geocache right behind you.
Is it this AM transmitter? Because that's not too tiny.
Up there.
Up where? Oh, what? This magnetic bolt?
Yes, that is a geocache.
What?
And you can unscrew the bolt.
Yeah, let's take a look. Oh yeah, what? And there's a little note in there.
Yeah, that's the log, and so you can pull that out, write your name, put it back in,
and then can I take it out?
Yeah.
Is that all right? Okay. Yeah. It's like a little secret note. Yeah. Please sign this logbook and hide the cache again when you have found it. To find out more, of the sport of geocaching, go to geocaching.com. Okay. So then I write down my name and then log it and then put it back, I guess?
Roll it back up, and then
what?
That's to help you get the
to get it back in there. Oh, that's awesome.
And and then it looks like just a bolt. So you see it sticking out from the back of a sign or something, and you think, oh yeah, it's just a bolt.
And it's magnetic too.
And so other people, or as they're known as muggles, the people that aren't geocaching, they'll just think, oh yeah, it's a bolt and whatever.
Yeah, no big deal. Just walk by. It's nothing. Oh, that's so neat.
So it's hidden in plain sight. And there's others that do that too. We've got this one here. It's a rock.
Is it a rock though?
Oh, it's just a rock.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those hide-a-key things because underneath you found it.
Smiley face.
And then you could put a log in here.
Oh. So what's the coolest geocache you've come across, like as far as a little hiding spot?
Actually, the first time I saw one of these in the wild, the bolt, that blew my mind.
That's pretty clever.
What?
Yeah.
I thought somebody had hollowed it out and custom made it, and then I realized, you can actually they sell them like that. Let's see. My favorite was on an abandoned train trestle in Massachusetts. Somebody had an ammo container underneath. But to get there, you had to walk down the train tracks and then cross the abandoned bridge. Just so cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that's part of the thing that I would be interested in as far as geocaching. Not so much like the logging. I mean, the tracking's kind of neat to see where things go from place to place. But if I was visiting a new area that I hadn't been before, and I kind of just wanted to explore and see some places, but didn't really have an idea of where to go, like geocaching would be a great way of just exploring somewhere.
Yeah, and even when I lived in Newton, Massachusetts, I'd been there for years, and I went out geocaching and discovered a park half a mile from me that I didn't even know existed. Woods and trails and everything. It's like, this is here the whole time? I had no idea.
That's awesome.
And I've done it in Utah and Colorado. I haven't visited there very often, but I wanted to get out and see, the area.
Okay,
it was great fun.
Cool. Well, I guess what we should do now is we'll take a little break, but when we come back, you'll show us how to find stuff out in the wild, maybe?
Yeah, we'll go find a geocache.
All right, that sounds good. Until then, we're just going to take a little break for these messages.
We'll have more with the boys and know-how in just a moment, but first I want to interrupt. Hello, let me introduce myself. I'm Leo Laporte, and I used to be a freelancer. That means at the end of every month, I used to have to grit my teeth, fire up Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word, and create an invoice. And you know what I learned? After years of doing that, if you don't send an invoice, you don't get paid. It took me a while to figure that out. In fact, I was complaining about what a pain in the butt it was to do invoices. This would be back about 2004. I was working with Amber MacArthur in Canada. I used to go up to Toronto to do the show. In fact, that's who I had to invoice every month. I'd have to send Rogers Communications up in Canada an invoice for my time, for my travel. I had expenses, all this stuff. And I convert it to Canadian dollars. It was just a pain in the butt. She said, Leo, stop whining. She might have slapped me. Stop whining and start using FreshBooks. FreshBooks was just started up in Toronto at the time, and it was a revelation. I found out that not only is it easy to make an invoice, and it is as easy as pie to make a professional looking, your logo, everything. It does all the currencies of the world. But it turns out your client hates paying bills as much as you do sending bills. It's a chore for everybody. So FreshBooks is awesome because it makes it easy for them to pay you. Every FreshBooks invoice, they get it. There's a button on it that says Pay Leo. Well, it'd be nice if it said Pay Leo, but in your case, it'll say your name. Pay your name here. And your client will be able to use whatever online payment system they like, or if you use Stripe or whatever you use, Shopify, it can go through that as well. And they pay you, and it's easy. You can even set up automated recurring invoices and recurring payments if your client agrees, and nobody has to even think about it ever again. Awesome. But FreshBooks has become so much more than an invoicing solution. Nowadays, FreshBooks is a complete accounting solution for people who aren't accountants. In fact, I'm guessing you got into your business, whatever it is, because you like that thing, not doing the books. FreshBooks makes it easy. So many small businesses, I certainly was one of them, have no idea, for instance, if they've made a profit. Can you tell me, are you profitable today? You may not know. With FreshBooks, you go to the dashboard, you know how much money you've made or how much money you've lost. You know what accounts are receivable, what invoices are outstanding, what invoices have been sent, what invoices have even been viewed. No more can clients say, I didn't get your invoice. Oh, you saw it. I saw you saw it. And because of all this, because of the ease, the automation, you're never in mystery about how your business is doing. It's right there in the dashboard. And by the way, people who use FreshBooks get paid on average 11 days faster. You can now assign services to projects and designate different rates for every service. So you can bill for you always can bill for your hours, but now you can bill for your hours more accurately. Like that costs more than that. It's so awesome. The FreshBook app makes it really easy. I know a lot of people who don't even have an office. They come to people's homes to fix things or whatever. They can show you an estimate in FreshBooks. They can show you the invoice. They can help. You can pay on the phone. This whole thing is completely simple and easy. Whether you use Shopify or Gusto or Acuity scheduling, whatever you use, it all integrates beautifully with FreshBooks. You can bill for hours to different projects. You can use it for team hours. I can go on and on, but really you should try it. It's free to be for 30 days right now at freshbooks.com/knowhow. The whole place, the whole thing, all the services. This is new. New features always being added. This is one of the nice things about using a web-based service like this. You get the new features automatically. They just added, you can now reward clients who pay promptly and encourage customer loyalty by giving them discounts, and that can be part of the recurring template. Isn't that awesome? Oh, look, you paid 5 days early. I'm going to give you 5% off. You can open any invoice in a new browser tab window, so you have multiple invoices. You can work it at the same time in different tabs. They just added that. It's always improving. It's no wonder Forbes added them to the Small Giants list for 2017 this year. Congratulations, FreshBooks. Try it free right now. FreshBooks.com/knowhow. Put know-how in the How Did You Hear About Us section, and the kids, the know-how kids, they'll get their just reward, and I'll be happy and like that. FreshBooks.com/knowhow. Don't forget to mention know-how. We thank FreshBooks for supporting us. And now, let's get back to work with know-how.
Oh, we're back. So now that we've seen a few of these, there's actually some really clever ones that people have made and custom made. Like you've got this looks like a circuit box.
I custom made this. I went to Home Depot, got a circuit box.
You made that? That's awesome. Okay.
Well, I just bought a circuit box.
Right.
With a little piece of pipe. But you could hide this at the base of a building, stick this into the ground, and then put your geocache in there. And they'll think, oh, it's just an electrical box,
Right.
whatever.
Well, because the idea too is you don't want it to be too obvious, because if somebody just randomly finds it, they might pick it up and walk away with it, right?
Yeah, you don't want it to stand out because
Yeah.
somebody's going to steal it.
So you found a couple of videos off of the Geocache website, right?
Yes.
And then, Alex, if you roll that first one, these are kind of them in their natural habitat, I guess, example?
And like, here's the rock that we've got. And
So we've seen the rock, we've seen the
and the
bolts,
bolts.
and they're pretty, hidden well. This one looks like a pain in the butt.
yeah, I hate these because they're impossible to find.
Why would you do that? That seems ridiculous.
This is creative, though.
The pine cone. See, now I'd be worried about the pine cone being thrown away.
But this is one of my favorites.
What?
You pour the water in the pipe and it floats the cache up.
Oh, that's
It's so
crazy.
creative.
No wonder they're so hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And like those little tiny ones. Oh, no.
What a
Stop
pain.
doing that. I like nice, meaty caches that,
Okay, so
you could actually fit things in.
now you probably, when you go to an area, you see all the geocaches on a map. Do they come with pictures to give you an idea of what you're looking for? Because you have the
it depends on
chibi
the
thing,
cache.
the chibi moon.
Well, that's a trackable. So
Okay,
you're not
that's
really
a
looking for
trackable.
that. When you're out looking for a geocache, you're looking for a container.
Right.
And so they don't usually put a picture of the container. There may be pictures of the surroundings, or a picture. Sometimes there's pictures. Here's where to park,
Right.
which is handy.
Okay.
But they generally don't say, here's exactly what you're looking for. So you have to kind of keep an open mind. It could be anything.
Well, Alex, if you play that second video that Patrick found, I guess like this one's
Yeah.
in Amsterdam, so all over the world you can find
Oh, yeah.
these things, and they're pretty clever. That's kind of the treasure hunt aspect of
Yeah.
it that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and they should never be buried. So you're not out there digging for treasure. But
Right.
you can put it under leaves or under a bunch of pine cones or something.
I think I like the bolts so far.
I hate this one.
the stick doesn't make sense
Yeah.
because you just throw that away.
Yeah, it's just a stick.
And
I'm not
we
looking
saw
for a
the
stick.
pipe one. So I guess people get pretty clever
Yeah.
with these. But
Or
that's a
you
post
put
box?
a fake mailbox next to real mailboxes. and some of these, you need to solve a puzzle to get it. It's not so clear. You
Not
don't just
just
go
like-
to the coordinates.
Okay.
So you have to say, oh, well, I solved the puzzle. That gives me the numbers for the coordinates.
Or the numbers
the
on the
combination
combination
to get in.
Now this one, that one's tricky. And
Yeah.
don't just take it and
I don't
walk
know.
away with it.
Maybe she's just going to a quiet area to do the log. That's what I'm
And
going to
then
assume.
put
She's
it
not
back.
stealing it.
Yeah, because it'd be super obvious. You just stand there.
Now, sometimes it is disappointing. These do disappear.
Right.
It may be a grounds crew that's clearing things out. It's like, oh, what is this garbage? And they throw it out. So sometimes you may be looking for a cache that's not even there.
Right.
And so, or could, somebody like, oh, I'm going to take this, so I need something for my lunch.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, sometimes they disappear.
Yeah.
So you can say, yeah, didn't find. And if you see a lot of people reporting didn't find, it's probably gone.
okay.
And that's when the person that owns the cache should probably go and take a look, make sure it's really there, and reassure people, I just looked, it's there.
it's
Go look
there.
again."
You need to look
Yeah.
harder. You've made a mistake.
Yeah, because sometimes they're hard.
Right. So when you go out looking for a geocache, what are some of the things that you take with you?
Obviously you need at least your cell phone.
Something for GPS.
Yeah. And if you're going to an area that might not have a cell signal, bring an actual GPS so that you can still look for stuff without a cell signal. If you're on the top of a mountain or in a valley or somewhere that there's, out in the boondocks. A
A lot of these places that people hide geocaches are kind of remote, so chances are
Yeah,
there might
so-
not be cell service.
So even though I've had a cell phone or a smartphone since 2007, I still bring this just in case as a backup. It's also, you may be on a long walk, so you bring all the stuff you would bring on a hike. Bring water, maybe a flashlight, and if you're using your phone, bring a spare phone battery. Or
Yeah.
even spare batteries for your other GPS.
Okay.
Because, if you're looking for a while, it could
And,
take up a lot of time.
And in our case, if you're out in the sun, you're going to want a hat, sunscreen.
Yeah, hat, sunscreen.
'Cause we're pretty white. We're going to burn.
Yeah, comfortable shoes. Wear long pants, even if it's hot, because if you're out in the woods, you may have to trudge through some brush.
Yeah, ticks and
yeah, and like the nettles and the brambles and or even just poison ivy.
Okay.
That's something. Bring some gloves, just because there's a few I've been to. You have to reach into something, and it's like reaching
there
into
might be some spiders and stuff in
a
there.
dead tree and up, and it's like, I don't know what I'm finding, so I'm gonna wear gloves just so that I'm not reaching into hornet's nest or something.
Now I'm just imagining somebody coming across like you or me, like geocaching. It probably looked like we were gonna go hide a body or something.
Yeah,
like that.
geocachers do know where to hide the bodies. And also because these are outside and they get muddy, bring some hand wipes just to clean up after.
That makes sense. And if do you need like a logbook if you want to keep some notes and stuff like that?
The larger geocaches, there'll be a logbook in there, but some of the smaller ones, like this one, won't have anything to write with.
Right.
So you've got to bring your own pen or pencil.
Okay.
I recommend a pencil just because the ink sometimes doesn't write on certain surfaces. Like this one can fit a pencil, but not much else.
Right.
And then also bring just like a plastic bag or something because you should practice what they call CITO. Cash in, trash out. So if there's a bunch of garbage around, just put it in a bag and take it out with you.
Yeah, be respectful of the area. Yeah, okay. And then you have one final note that always makes me laugh, the watch out for muggles.
Yes, you got to watch out for muggles because you're going to be looking around, looking at your phone and just wandering places people normally might not wander.
Right.
And now in this age of Pokemon Go, they'll probably just assume, he's looking at his phone, he's playing Pokemon Go.
Right.
But you don't want to be too suspicious because it's going to attract attention. So be a little wary and like. If there's a bunch of people walking by, you don't want to be searching under a park bench
while someone's sitting on it.
Yeah. And you don't want to alert people like, hey, there's this container hidden here. Because if they're not playing and they're not respectful to the game, then
they might just take it.
Yeah, it's like, look at all this free stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why a lot of these go missing, huh?
Yeah.
Is that someone else watches somebody write down a note and then hide this bolt under a bench and like, well, what the heck is that guy doing?
Oh, look at this cool bolt.
It.
I'm going to keep this.
Yeah, I can see that.
I need to hide a key at home.
Well, then you've also got, this one looks pretty tricky.
Yeah.
This is the little plate.
This is an electrical plate. And on the back,
it's got a little magnet.
Yeah, there's a little tiny magnet to help this
Ziploc.
stick to, but you can have a fake electrical plate somewhere, and that could be the cache on the back. So that's really tricky. You saw this in the video. There's just a film canister, so you can figure out ways.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I imagine after doing geocaching for a while, you get really good at hiding backup keys around your house and stuff like that.
Yes.
You never get locked out of your house.
Think of real creative places to put things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now that we talked about how to find them, so we went out and we actually searched for one and we made a little video out of it, so check it out.
So to begin our geocaching adventure, Patrick and I first had to venture outside. That's right, we went into the dark underbelly of Petaluma to go explore some geocaching. Sure, we were putting our lives on the line, exploring outside of the studio, across the street to be exact. But once we arrived at the parking lot, Patrick pulled out his phone and with the app, he was able to find a geocache very nearby. A smiley face to me always indicates good fun. A good thing there's a few tips because there are quite a few muggles spotted around in this parking lot. After circumventing the muggles, it was quite a hot day out there. But we had to press on. Soon we came to a location that looked very suspicious. Suspicious enough to have a geocache. After a quick inspection, Patrick was able to locate the device underneath this metal cover. It might look like a simple film canister, but inside we found a treasure trove of names and dates. Also a piece of Trident gum. That is gross. Do not eat that. After unfurling the notes, we were able to, add our own names to the list. We are now in the annals of geocaching history. And with Patrick's name on there, I felt the need to put my own handle on there. Cranky Hippo. After a job well done, we respectfully put the paper back into the canister, returned it to its cache, and we made sure to leave a note. There are muggles about. Be careful. And like any good geocaching crime-fighting duo, we made sure to high five. Job well done.
So Patrick, we went out, we found a geocache. That was a lot of fun. It's always nice to get outside every once in a while, you know, out of the studio.
Yeah.
But now that we know the basics, we know how to find them, we know how to track them and log them, what about hiding our own geocaches?
Now, a lot of people will go and find a few geocaches and they immediately want to hide their own. And
because that seems fun, right?
Yeah, it
you
seems fun.
come up with a cool container.
I've got my own idea. I know where I can hide one.
Yeah.
Well, you should probably get out there and find a lot more geocaches before you think of hiding your own.
Right.
Because you want to figure out what kinds of caches you like and what you don't like, good places to hide them and bad places to hide them. The experience will really help you make a better geocache.
Okay, and they provide videos, like there's a YouTube video it's by geocache.com or something,
Geocaching.com, Groundspeak is the company that runs it.
Okay, and they kind of give some do's and don'ts of hiding geocaches. Like in this video, they have some pretty clever ones, but they also point out what a bad one is, like those little tiny ones, putting that in a tree, probably not a good idea.
It's not too rewarding.
The phone one, that's pretty clever, but I don't know of a lot of payphones at all anymore that are in existence, so good luck finding one or building your own. Probably not a good idea to put it in a cardboard box and leave it in the forest.
Yeah, and you can't put one near another geocache. Somebody else has already claimed the spot.
Oh, so they have to be how far apart?
A tenth of a mile.
A tenth of a mile, okay. That makes sense, because you don't want them like overlapping or being like
Yeah,
really...
and you don't want somebody finding the wrong geocache when they're looking for another one.
And
then they think, oh, I found it. And it's like, no, you actually found a different one. So.
Okay, so yeah, have you ever gone out and found one in a cardboard box or something like that?
No, fortunately I haven't seen a cardboard box one.
Probably disintegrated.
I've seen some that are in containers that haven't been closed properly, and there's just water inside and everything's floating, and
then the logbook's ruined and stuff.
Yeah, so then I'll log my find, but I'll say, hey, you should really, the cache owner, you should really come and clean this up. And, like, I'll dump the water out, but you know, if you need to replace the logbook, then, or even if the logbook's full, I'll say, yeah, the log's full, come fix it. So the next person has something to sign. Okay,
so if you are hiding a geocache, do you recommend doing it somewhere that you are readily accessible, like to somewhere near kind of where you live, just in case you need to like check up on it or something?
Yeah, you need to maintain this. So if you're going on vacation to Europe, you're not going to hide a cache in Europe because if somebody says, oh, the log's full, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's good to hide one at a place you go regularly. And not something that's way out of the way.
Okay, well, say that you are traveling to Europe or something like that. Can you take like a geocache coin with you and put it in a different cache and say like, hey, if you find this, try and like have it make its way back to me or something like that?
Yes, Svet and I did that. We were in Ireland the week before I started at Twit, and we went geocaching, and we had an Emperor Zerg that we left in a geocache in Ireland on top of a mountain, and I forget what his instructions were.
Take over the universe.
Bring him up. Emperor Zerg, here he is.
Okay, so you have him logged.
He's traveled 5,703 miles.
What? So where is he now?
He's missing. He was last seen in this one. Where is this? This is... I don't know where. Oh, that's a person.
Yeah, that's the user.
Visit log. Here's. I think Germany.
In Germany somewhere. It looks like it, judging by the notes.
Wait. Actually, so somebody says they found it in Germany, but then this says that they were last seen in southwest England.
And do you still have your Chibi Moon one up? Or there's the map. Okay,
there's
that's what
the map.
I wanted to
This
see.
is Zerg, so you can see he started in Massachusetts,
right?
went to Ireland, and then went all over Europe
What?
and disappeared in the UK.
And each of those little squares is a time that somebody found him and or moved him?
And so the last one there is numbered 74. 74 times he was logged.
Man, that guy's traveled more than I have.
I've got the Chibi Moon one here, and if I load the map for that,
whoa.
back and forth across the U.S., over 9,000 miles.
And before she disappeared,
Yeah.
what you were trying to get her to Japan? Is that what it was?
Yeah, trying to get to Japan, because it's Sailor Moon. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I had a website at the time, the Chibi Project, where we did experiments on the little Chibi figure. I did a different one.
Yeah.
And so this was an experiment we were doing.
From the dead bodies we've talked about hiding and experimenting. I feel,
Well,
Patrick's a criminal. He's Dexter.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
but
that's cool.
So when you're hiding a geocache, another thing you want to do is keep in mind what to put in it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to put food, alcohol, sharp objects, or illegal items. So like this isn't a drug cache. This is for fun.
No.
Kids are going to find this.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. And food attracts animals, so they'll get here and destroy your cache.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
And you want to do it somewhere public. If you're doing it on private property, ask the property owner's permission.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd be trespassing, and then multiple people. You get other people in trouble as they try and find your geocache.
Yes, yeah. And you want to make sure when you hide it, get clear GPS readings, so that when you log where it is, everybody else has the correct location, and they're not looking 50 feet off somewhere else.
I see.
You want to make sure they're looking around the same area.
So if you're hiding one, can you use the app to display like your GPS coordinates?
Yes. Yeah, you can use the app or GPS device, get your GPS coordinates, and walk around a little bit and go to it and walk away, walk back, and just check and make sure that the coordinates stay the same every time you go to it.
Okay.
And so once you've got a cache hidden, you'll create it on geocaching.com, and they have an approval process to make sure everything seems a-okay, and then it will be listed, and other people will start finding it immediately. People love to find new geocaches and be the first to find.
Okay.
Well, a lot of times there's a first to find prize. Like, hey, the first to find gets this. Maybe it's a $5 gift card. Maybe it's some crappy thing, but
some ring or a Chibi Moon or a Lego man.
Yeah, you never know what it might be. Or maybe it's just, okay, I'm first to find. Yay.
Or
bragging
maybe
rights.
a Leo bobblehead.
Yeah, they might even find a Leo bobblehead in a cache.
Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
It's just not creepy or anything. So you came up with the idea of you're going to hide that.
We're going to do an official TWIT geocache.
Nice.
And we're not going to list it on geocaching.com until after a viewer finds it, because we want an actual know-how viewer to find the geocache first, and then we'll let everybody else find it.
So it's going to be near the studio.
Yes,
so
we will say that.
Visit,
So sorry, it's going to be in Petaluma.
Yeah.
So East Coast people, maybe we'll put something in a East Coast cache sometime, or
But so for the person who finds this, they can keep the Leo.
Yes, they can keep the Leo
and then
everything else. Sign the log.
Sign the log. Come into the studio.
Come
say
visit.
hi.
Yeah.
So then we can document. Maybe we'll take a picture with you and the bobblehead.
And it'll be interesting to see how fast this is found, too.
I'm curious about it because this. So this
I
is
bet it's going to be found before the next episode of Know How.
You think so?
Padre's on that, right? So maybe you can explain what we did. And
so today's Monday.
Yes.
And the next episode of Know How will be on Thursday. You think it'll be found before then?
I bet it will. I bet somebody's going to find this.
And they might not even be a TWIT fan, though. They might just be someone who lives in town.
They could be if they're going out looking in random places.
Oh,
but
I see.
I'm not going to post the coordinates on geocaching.com until after somebody finds it for the first time.
How are they going to find it for the first time?
Because I'm going to tell them the coordinates, exactly where it is.
now? Or?
Get a pen, and we can put this in the show notes, and I'll update the show notes after somebody finds it with an actual link to the cache on geocaching.com. But for the time being, it's located at north 38 degrees and 16.607 minutes, west 122 degrees, 40.001 minutes. So that's where we've hidden the geocache.
And if you didn't catch that, I'll put a lower third.
It will be out there
promise.
momentarily.
I think I'll remember to do that.
Yeah, and we'll have the in the show notes. We'll make
that
sure that's
too,
in
yeah.
there.
So check the show notes.
And so make sure you sign the log. And
Awesome.
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's a little interactive
Yes.
test we can have for our know-it-alls and fans of Twit. Cool. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for doing this. I have thought about doing geocaching for a long time, but I didn't really know where to start. Now I have an idea. It sounds like a great way to get outside and explore and kind of see some new places.
Well, at one point I went geocaching up at Armstrong Woods, and that's the big redwoods and everything. And I found a geocache there, and then Svet and I walked around. There's a bridge, and then I proposed.
Oh, wow.
I used geocaching as the cover for my proposal. I said, "Hey, let's go up to this woods. I hear they're really nice."
Fun. It's geocaching.
I'd actually already been there. I scouted it out to make sure there was already a geocache there that I could find.
Did you hide a ring in there?
Because I didn't want it to be a disappointment. Oh, we didn't find the geocache. It's a terrible day. And so we found a geocache, and then we went and proposed. So
that's
geocaching.
clever. See, geocaching can bring people together.
She actually enjoyed geocaching so much, she put it in her book, Awkward.
Oh, nice.
And so they're actually geocaching as one of the plot points in there. And so you can see they're looking for it.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, okay, so Patrick, I'm going to plug the G Plus community. I want to say anybody out there who's into geocaching, go over to G Plus if you haven't. Join our community. We've got over 11,000 people in there. If you have an idea for geocaching or you want to kind of show off maybe some of your hiding spots and things like that, please post it. We'll share it on the show and stuff. Maybe we'll talk about it once we figure out who has found Leo's bobblehead. But as far as keeping track of the show and what we're doing here at Twit, go over to twit.tv/KH. You can subscribe or download the episode. But if you want to find Patrick online or even Svet's work, like her book and some of the other things that you're up to, where's the best place for people to do that?
I link to all of the stuff I do at adequate.com.
Okay.
So all of my sites, whether it's anime conventions or fan conventions or the Chibi Project, the site that I used to have, it's all, you can find it all at adequate.com. And there's also a link to Svet's site where she's got links to her books, including Awkward and the new Brave book. And it was just announced she's going to have a third book called Crush.
That's so cool.
That comes out next fall.
That's exciting. And
2018.
kind of a little geocaching thing that you and Svet do with her comics. Don't you drop them off in in certain bookstores and stuff with her? She signed them. Like if you go to Target or something, you can find ones.
Well, she won't sign, but what we do is in some places we actually stick stickers, like a little. We don't stick them in the book. We just slip a little sticker, so whoever buys the book gets like, oh, I found a sticker.
Yeah, which
I know there's one at the SFO airport.
Oh.
There's a copy there, and it's like, oh, boop. So check your local bookstore, maybe a Target or something.
Nice. And you're as far as Twitter, you're at P Delahanty, right?
Yes, at P Delahanty.
Okay, cool. Well, if you want to see what I'm doing coming up or behind the scenes or, well, pictures of my dog, because that's mostly what I put on Twitter, you can follow me at cranky_hippo. Padre will be back next week on
Believe
Thursday.
it when I see it. Believe it when I see it.
I know. It's crazy. We almost had to erase his head, but but he's still there. And we wouldn't have been able to do this episode without the third member of our team. He's hiding in the abyss, and
What?
I don't.
There's nobody over there.
What is your Twitter handle? Wait, what's his name again?
I don't know. I've never seen him before.
What's going on over there?
Alex
Pushing the
doesn't have a
button.
beard. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. It's like evil. It's evil, Alex. You don't want to show the beard off?
Yeah, you can see it right there.
It's all beard.
Where can
Everything
people
is
find
black.
you on the internet, Sal?
Oh, you could follow me at cranky_hippo.
You bastard. That's not true. That is not true. It is at ANLEF3. Phew, he didn't mute me. All right, well, now that you know how to find stuff geocaching, get out there and do it.